Hello, Thomas Bartke here with Audiohost.com and the new ShowPlayer app. So this time here, I'm going to show you how the ShowPlayer app connects to the X32 board using an older iPad that has a lightning connector over here, right? So this is not the USB-C cable, but a lightning connector. And with this connection, it's a little bit more involved because you just need to have a regular USB cable like this one, like a printer cable. This one goes into the back of the console, back there. Let's see if I can see this properly. So this is where the USB cable goes. Now, the other end here goes into a powered USB hub that I have right here. We've tested this with several boards, and I have an X32 producer, and with that one it works perfectly fine to connect this cable straight into an adapter like this and then into the lightning. But with all of the large X32 boards, it doesn't work like that I've tested. It didn't work like that. So you have to connect it through a powered USB hub. And then the USB hub connects, the USB hub here has a regular USB connector like this, and that's going to connect through this camera adapter. The camera adapter has another lightning port here, which you can use to charge the iPad or iPhone at the same time that the app is in use. So we're going to plug this up here, and then this end of the USB hub goes here. This is probably all blurry while I'm holding this and trying to connect with one hand. But there, now it's on. All right, very good. So now we're going to just double check our settings here again. In the configuration, in the remote configuration, you want to put the card MIDI here in the interface, and possibly here as well. I think actually it's only this parameter that's required, but then you also have to enable the MIDI receive, so whatever you want to receive. Anyway, so this is what these should be set up here to receive properly, and then just set both of them to card MIDI, and there you go. So you're in business. We're in business here. Now let's take a look here at the app settings and make sure that everything comes through. So sometimes you just have to restart the app, relaunch the app after connecting it to the board. So let's just relaunch the app and see what happens here if we just relaunch it. And now we're in business. Yes, okay, so very good. So over here is the mute button, and I'm toggling right now on the board, and there you go. Okay, so the general rule is just relaunch the app once this connection here is made and the board is hooked up, and then everything is good and we're in business. So I was wondering, so usually in the past, I set up dozens of shows with mic automation through QLab, which is kind of like the industry standard more or less. But I've always labored with the turnaround and the workflow, finding the exact spot where everything goes and so forth. It was always kind of like, it was always laborious and tedious. And so one of the things that we are doing with this app is, number one, I want to pre-build shows that anyone can use. Okay, so just let me know in the comments if you like the idea of that, to just have the show completely done for you and pre-built. All the mic mappings are all set up and all the automation is already dialed in, right? All the MIDI cues are already set so that everything gets automatically unmuted in the time whenever it's due, right? And these are slaved to the timeline here, right? So in a few seconds, we'll go here to where the chorus comes in, and we can see the feedback here immediately on the built-in board that you have reference to here. Now there are two more unmutes, 10 and 11, and they did get unmuted, so this is all good. And if I don't like it, I can, you know, add another chorus member here, blam, like this. And 12 is already unmuted there. And then if I wanted to update this on the fly, I could just go, all right, let's add another one right here, save. And I can do this on the fly. So here it automatically goes back to the Cecilia solo, even though we didn't even go back all the way, right? So it always fetches the last previous MIDI cue to update the board whenever you change to wherever you go. This is, you know, somewhat practical for rehearsals. And here now you have the modified change here came into effect. But like, oh, so what I wanted to show is that you can make these changes on the fly. So here we go again, 10 seconds, they're going to turn on. And then you say to yourself, well, okay, now I want to add another one, or whatever it is. So then you go in here and edit this again, and you hit save, and you didn't even have to stop it, right? So now it's not reflected here because it didn't actually get changed. I mean, it didn't actually get sent to the board, but it was saved for the next run. So the next run here, past 207, will now unmute the new configuration, which does not include number 12. So it's just things like this you can do on the fly with this app during rehearsal, no problem. You just make your corrections as the app is playing, and on the next run it's going to be corrected, right? And if you need to correct it on the fly, you correct it right here directly, immediately. You keep this going, you go back here, you open it, you add number 7 to the previous setup, and the next time it runs, it will run with the 7 enabled there, right? So these are pretty cool things to use in rehearsal. Now again, going back to the idea of having the whole show already preset and pre-built for you. I've usually spent, I would say, anywhere between probably around a dozen hours in preparing shows with all the MIDI setup for the show, top to bottom, depending on how complex it was. Maybe some smaller shows took a little bit less effort, but I would say roughly in that ballpark. And usually you have, you know, hundreds, at least many dozens, if not hundreds, pushing close to, well, several hundreds, pushing close to 1,000 individual mic cues. If you have 16 mics going, or maybe you have 24 mics going, then it's more. And when you're using QLab, you more or less need to set them up individually, one by one, by hand, right, for each mic. And here, if you need to make a correction, it's never, so each of these time markers here that marks a MIDI cue is a snapshot of the entire mic board, right? So here, you go into this one, and it's just number 10 is open. So Lila solo, just number 10 is open, okay? Keep that in mind. And then here, this chorus has 9, 10, 11, right? So, and when we start right here, it sets it up for the entire board. It captures the entire board right there. And then when you change to a different location, it doesn't matter that you already passed this one, right? But it updated it correctly to whatever the situation is where you're scrolling, right? So we didn't go back all the way where we actually had to trigger this, but it retroactively, it looked back to the last previous MIDI cue and sent this board configuration. So here's that 7 is in there that we added. I'm gonna take that back out because that's actually not gonna be correct. So 7 out. All right, so this is pretty cool. So even when the show is pre-built, if you need to make any changes, if you were to receive the pre-built shows and saved you, tons of hours in preparation, now you have a baseline that you can go off. If you need to make any changes, you make small adjustments here or there, you're free to do that because you can edit the local copy here of the show and it'll play it back the next time exactly like you left it before. So I think this is pretty cool, and that is kind of my intention, is to facilitate making the entire metadata for the show available for other users, so that you can start the show, you know, way ahead of the game. You have everything already prepared, everything is set up. If you need to make modifications, you can, but the baseline is already set with all the details already configured. Let's take a quick look to see if we have any scenes in here. Yeah, this is not, there are very few dialogue scenes that actually require interaction in terms of the mic mutes. Here, after number 22, there's a short scene. You can see, so this is just a couple of cues. The first one is enter Iolanthe. So that goes right here. Iolanthe is in 2. And then here's a cue line, but see, he comes. And you hit go again, and the mics get changed. These are the mics still for the end of the previous dialogue scene. And then you see here, your next action is going to be start on page 194, most reluctantly consented. And that is going to be your cue line to hit start. And in 4 seconds here, it switches over to Iolanthe recitativo. That's the solo. And here you are on hold. So here's a recitativo line that needs to go by, and we don't want to rush it. So then once this is done, it goes on. Okay, and so forth. So if you would like to get early access to take a look at the demo show, and if you have any questions, you want to experiment with the app and see kind of how it works, how it connects to your board, and so forth, feel free to go to audiohost.com and just submit an early access request through that. I'll personally get in touch with you, and we'll chat about what you exactly want to do and what you need. And then you get access to the app as a beta tester, and you can immediately download the demo show, which has several cues here from different musicals in them. It has also some extended cues that are longer scenes, right there, where you have multiple switches over here. You see here, this is a larger mic board. It goes up to 20 mics for this particular show. So go ahead and go to audiohost.com and take a look there, and we can collaborate on your next show. Thanks a lot for watching. This is Thomas Bartke signing off.